Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Today we're going to be focusing on values. We're going to paint this beautiful rose painting. We're going to do it all in burnt umber, and then after that dries, we're going to glaze over it with color. If that sounds like something you're interested in, grab your paintbrush and let's go paint. I have already transferred my rose to my canvas so we can jump right into the tutorial. I am mixing my liquid original with burnt umber and titanium white to get a very light tan so I can sketch in my rose and start to establish color on the canvas. If you would like to follow along and paint this rose with me, the link to this image is going to be in the description below. I'm also going to be using a canvas panel that came from a pack I got from Michaels and their Artist Loft brushes to show that as long as you prime your canvas with a couple coats of gesso, you don't have to spend a ton of money on supplies. I want the stem to be darker, so I'm going to take my liquid original and burnt umber and add a little bit of ivory black. Keep in mind throughout this whole painting where your light source is coming from. Mine is coming from the upper right, so I want my darkest values to be on the left side of the rose. I want to get my background in before I paint too much of the rose because it's hard to judge your values when working with a bright white background like this. This is also why I normally tone my canvases before starting to paint on them. I'm not going to blend my background, that's just a personal preference. I'm liking the way the brush strokes are showing. I think it adds a lot more character, so I'm going to keep that, but you can definitely use a mop brush to blend it if you would like. But just remember not to overblend and make mud. Just a few strokes and that's all it takes to blend. I want the rose to pop off the page, so I'm going to add more black to my dark umber mixture and outline just around the rose. And you can already see how that helps make the rose the focal point. Now that the background is done, it's a lot easier for me to see how light and dark everything is, and if I need to make adjustments. I am just going to keep going back and forth until I get the values the way I would like them. I know this is probably long and boring, and you wish you could just skip to the color part because that is the way I felt, but I promise this is the most important part. And when you start to glaze, it'll just take a few seconds to get those colors in and your painting will be complete. It's the next day now and everything is dry because we used Liquid Original in our paints. So now we get to the fun step of glazing the color. I decided I want the rose to be red, and because the stem is going to be green, I went with blue for the background. I want the tips of my rose to fade to white, so I'm only going to glaze red on the base of the flower and then blend into white for the tips of the petal. One of the important things when glazing is you want to use a lot of your medium, whatever you're using, whether it's liquid or mineral spirits or paint thinner. You want to get the paint translucent, which means that you can see through it. And that is how we're not losing any of the work that we did in the last day, is because with the paint so translucent, you're able to still see all that work and all of the shading and values that we used before. If you are supporters up on Patreon, the real-time version of this, along with how I mix my paint, is already uploaded, so make sure to go check that out. Thanks for watching one technique I use for studying values and glazing on top of them. If you decide to paint this, please tag me on Instagram or Twitter. I would love to see your work. You guys are my inspiration and the reason that I make these videos. So please hit that like button. If you really liked this video, let me know in the comments below so I can make more just like this. See you in the next video. Bye!